Welcome to the To Be the Church podcast, where we explore what it looks like to truly be the church in today's culture. That's Ben. That's Andrew. I'm Tyler. Cody and Brian are behind the cameras today. And after we recorded last time, Cody came up to me and he's like, "Hey, I have an idea for the next episode." And I said, "Ooh, I love your ideas for episodes. What do you got for me, buddy?" And he said...
You said it that way?
Exactly, that way. And he said, maybe next time we record, we just, let you guys have some fun. And I was like, oh, we're not having fun here, talking about gender pronouns and the Rise and Fall of Marcel podcast and masks and COVID vaccines and all sorts of stuff like that. And he was like, I think that it's time that we just like kind of come back to like having a fun episode where you guys talk about stupid stuff. So here we are, and 3/4 of our audience just turned this episode off after hearing that. But Brian, I think Brian brought in these little pod decks, which are kind of conversation starters for podcasts. And the first one I looked at, I was like, yep, we definitely can't talk about that one on the air. But I did find a few, and so I put a few in front of each of you guys.
Ooh,
and
okay.
So we're going to
pick a card, any card.
pick a card and ask the question, and then whoever wants to respond, even the person who asked the question, can go. So, Ben, get us started here.
What do you got, Ben?
Which band or artist, dead or alive, would play at your funeral?
You got to start that. I'm not a music guy-ish.
So Spice Girls for Andrew.
Specifically sporty.
Yeah.
That is a good question. This is one of those things that I'm going to answer right now, and then like in 4 hours, I'm going to be really upset that I answered it that way because I'll think of something way significantly better. I don't know if I have a good answer. Ben, you got somebody?
Lecrae.
Lecrae.
If it was a rapper, it'd be the Ambassador. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I listen to a lot of music, but I've never thought about who would play at my funeral. It'd probably be like you or someone I know.
So say like my daughter, maybe. Yeah.
So Sam and I like different football teams.
Yeah.
And the Eagles and the Chiefs played against each other. And so we were texting cross country, and I was like, hey, like we should have a bet on this game. And
you're all about those bets.
I know, because I keep winning them. It's awesome. And so he was like, all right, like we made it funeral related, to where if the Eagles won, I had to fly and sing at his funeral. But if the Chiefs won, he had to fly and speak at mine.
I was going to say, play his trumpet.
So, Sam will be doing at least some sort of the eulogy at my funeral because the Chiefs won. But
oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't want Andrea to have to pay for like a famous person and like just absorb that. So
one of my favorite comedians talks about how in his will he put in that like the part of his estate needs to go to pay a B or C level celebrity to show up at the funeral. And so he's talking about it, and he's like, oh man, he's like, everybody's gonna be like, oh, I'm so sad, I miss Nick so much. And is that John Stamos? Nick knew John Stamos? But yeah, man, this question thing is going great. We have good answers for this.
All right, when you think about success, who comes to mind and why? A little more serious here. Funerals aren't serious, but when you think about success, who comes to mind and why?
John Stamos.
Looking at you, I think you're going to say Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, well, not the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But.
Successful at turning the ball over, but yeah. Sorry, too soon.
I just think of major intellectuals, in the world. Condoleezza Rice. There you go. Right? Super accomplished lady. Condi Rice, man. You're Secretary of State.
Yeah. No.
I know she is.
Yeah.
What was the question? Think about success. Who comes to mind and why?
Yeah.
Man, grew up in kind of a impoverished type of situation. Now teaches at Stanford after being a major stateswoman.
Yep.
I think about my grandpa, actually.
There you go. Here we go.
He passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
And we keep hearing stories after his death about the ways that he was faithful.
Yeah.
And he was blessed with an amazing job. He worked for one company for the majority of his career, worked his way up, ended up with 49% ownership of that company, and was very blessed financially. But just recently, my brother was talking to a friend from our hometown, and he's like, hey, my grandpa just told me that your grandpa bought his first house for him.
Oh my goodness.
And my brother was like, what? And he was like, his grandpa was the pastor of the church. The church parsonage was not like up to par, and like it was kind of unsafe to live in. And so it was kind of like a worry, where's the pastor going to live? And I guess my grandpa just like bought a house and said, you can live in it. And
wow.
And like, I'm 37 years old, had no idea, and my brother called my dad. My dad had no idea. Like my grandma was like, I think I remember something like about that, but that was 40 years ago, and so stories like that, like in just ways that he would take care of pastors in different areas and stuff like that. So I think those stories are cool because, I mean, like that is almost the picture of doing something for the right reason. Like I have a feeling that if I did that, if I bought a pastor house, I'd be like, so I bought that pastor house.
You'd be talking about it on the To Be the Church podcast.
I mean, probably not, but I would definitely be like telling my closest friends and like, I'd be proud of that. Like it's something that that I would want accolades for. And I think that's rad that here we are 3 or 4 years after his death, finding it out from the grandson of the pastor of the home church, but.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean, all due respect to Condoleezza, but that
Condi.
Yeah. As Christians, right? What's the correlation between success and faithfulness, right? Like faithfulness is being successful as a Christian, right? It's not as much results oriented. Like, it's more, were you faithful to do what God called you to do? And it sounds like your grandpa was. So.
And apparently Condi's not. So what?
Well, you just mentioned she went to Harvard and all this stuff. And
I don't know if she went to Harvard. She teaches
at Stanford. Yeah. I said with all due respect.
I've heard that if you say with all due respect, you can say anything you want afterwards.
Or not to be offensive, there's all those things. Hey, that made me think of that. Well, are we not allowed to bring up the Rise and Fall of the Marcio podcast?
No, you bring up whatever you want.
That last one, I listened to that most recent one on, what was the guy's name? David Nicholas.
Oh yeah, David Nicholas, Florida pastor.
Yeah. That your grandpa's story kind of made me think of that because and then I've even seen on Twitter lately guys who I followed for a number of years, church planters in different urban centers and whatever. And after that podcast came out, a week or two later, they listened to it and they're like, man, I love this. He mentored me. He provided money for us to actually do this plant. And these are guys I know that have like been in their churches for 20 years and have really made a big impact in their communities. And that was, it was kind of that, it was a cool take on understanding a guy's name who I think I'd probably heard that name before, honestly, but like, I don't know. I definitely didn't know a whole lot about him. And so that's pretty cool. Like to, a guy who and his widow sharing on that podcast about all the different church planters he had impacted over the years, and even the day before his death or the day of his death or whatever, how there's guys over for dinner and he's like pouring into these younger pastors in his 70s or whatever. And
he didn't even know how many churches he had helped plant, and it was like hundreds. And
Rick McKinley, Portland-based pastors on that podcast, talking about how he had some connection there, and then about how another pastor just come here from New York and to the Portland area. And so like I was thinking about that, and it was like, oh man, at least a few of the prominent like churches who've had like a lot of influence in our city were touched by this random dude in Boca Raton. It's pretty cool. All right, here's a question. What was your first screen name?
ABM Ragmoon Vis.
Explain that to us.
Yeah. That was my first email, screen name. So it was ABM Ragmoonvis was it Juno.com? Was that an email thing back in the day?
Net, maybe?
Juno, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Juno's the thing, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but yeah, Juno. Yeah. So I was, probably 14, maybe 15. ABM, Andrew Bryan Merch. Rag was for the Rag Picker, which I played in... there's a play called the Mad Woman of Chaillot or something. I can't remember the name of it, but I was the rag picker in that. So Rag Moon. My second major part was in the in high school was in the Anything Goes, the musical, and I was Moonface Martin, Public Enemy number 13. And then Vis was I really was into Elvis at that point in my life. so I
Dude, sometimes I like forget that you were like a
thespian?
a thespo, yeah.
Part time. I was an odd mix of that and
Dude, I need to talk
played
to
sports.
Robin Murch and find some videos.
Dude, you can.
Now that
she's
this is
got
a video podcast, we should
she's got
Cody, we should work
legit-
on that.
She's got stuff that's not even suitable for this podcast. Dude, yeah, we had video camera as a kid. There's a lot of video. There's a lot of video, a lot of pictures too. So yeah, ABM Ragmoon Best, dude. I did Elvis impersonations for money.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, like I lip synced. And had the costumes. The Baptist church hired me for their graduation party in town.
How old were you?
First Baptist church in Silverton.
How old were you?
Like 15. Yeah.
I'm just imagining.
Wow.
Ben, first screen name?
Kings to Grizz. It was Kings, number 2, Grizz, because my favorite player was Jason Williams, white chocolate on the Kings. And he went from the Kings to the Grizzlies. They traded him for Mike Bibby.
Oh,
So
that's
I was
great.
just a big
Nice.
Sacramento basketball fan.
Yeah.
Nice. Mine was a big T with a bum knee.
No explanation needed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We know about that.
Yeah. Clarity is what you want in your screen names. So I had a whole like rap when I was 11 that my kids still like. They're like, Dad, tell us the rap again. And so like I'll
That's pretty
bring that out
sweet.
sometimes. But
That's pretty sweet, dude.
yeah.
Wow.
All right, that was a good one. What else we got?
Who'd play you in a movie?
Okay, dude, you know the movie Tom Hanks, not Tom Hanks, but he's in this movie. It's about the one-hit wonder band. What's that called? That Thing You Do.
Thing You Do, yeah.
Okay, the dude that plays the drummer in that,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see it a little bit.
I don't know what his name is, but he's been in a few. That's the biggest thing he was ever in. But
I mean, everyone tells me Andy Samberg would play me.
Oh, dude, totally.
Big nose. Yeah, I
Same
don't know.
personality,
Eh.
pretty much. You know,
similar, yeah.
So
dude.
people watch people used to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine and be like, dude, I'm watching you right now, like all the time.
That's great.
Yeah.
I had that experience, not about you or
Dude,
anybody
you're
else.
easy.
Um,
Galifianakis.
dude. Yeah. Okay, I'll start there. Yeah, definitely Galifianakis. It's easy. Back when I was a little chunkier, like no lie, one time at the mall here in, I think it's here in Vancouver. It was like, it might have been in Kansas because it was like right when The Hangover was really big, which was, because Molly was a baby. So, but these 2 teenage girls came up to me at the mall and they were like, hey, we know you're not him, but if we take a picture with you, we definitely can convince our friends that you are him. And so I like posed for a photo with like 2 random high school girls in the mall who thought I was Zach Galifianakis.
Little chunky T.
Yeah. Actually, the year Molly was born, I remember this because when The Hangover, I went as him for Halloween. I just threw her in the baby carrier and put sunglasses on. It was the easiest Halloween costume in the world.
That's great.
But yeah, had the experience of watching a movie and being like, I'm watching one of my friends right now. Watching the new James Bond movie, Brent Kimball is Daniel Craig, like through and through.
I can see that. Yeah.
I mean, mannerisms,
Yeah.
sexiness, everything. It's like it's Brent.
Sexiness.
It's Brent Kimball, man. It is. I need to
That's
text.
a high point in the To Be the
Your
Church
buddy
podcast
Cody
history.
Cannon, I've only like met him 3
Yeah,
times, but
Cody.
every time he's like, he says I'm Tom Hardy, the guy from that plays Bane. And,
You wish you were Tom Hardy.
That's what he always says, but I'm just like, yeah, I'll take it, whatever.
He plays Bane in Dark Knight.
Yeah, the second one, and then
Yeah.
what else? I mean, he's in a bunch of stuff. but
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know him. I don't know that actor well enough to see that correlation. I just with Bane, obviously he's got the.
It's just funny because the first time I met him, he
Yeah.
like said that. It's
Yeah.
like, sweet.
I'm not someone who. I feel like you're someone, Ty, who like when Cody's like that. Cody Cannon is like that, where when he sees that he'll like correlate you to a famous person or to a movie star or a whatever pretty quickly. You seem like you know that world. Like you always know the names of actors and actresses when they're like, I'll be talking about some new show that we're both watching or whatever, and I'll be like, oh yeah, and then you'll tell me their name, you know. And do you just look it up or what? How do you?
Yeah, I do. So like,
You watch E! Entertainment News a lot? Or?
Yeah, I do. I'll Katie gets annoyed with me because during a show I'll be like, I know them from somewhere, so I'll pull up IMDb and look
Yeah.
at what else they're in and
Yeah.
what their name is and stuff like that. But yeah, I do that often. All right, let's do another one. You got one, Andrew?
Oh yeah, sure. Random here. Let's see. When you die, what do you want to be remembered for? Getting a little bit serious here. Okay. So we already know who's going to play at your funeral.
We don't actually. None of us answered that question.
Oh, okay. I say Elvis would play at mine. When you die, what do you want to be remembered for?
Why are you looking at me? I'm the youngest. You guys are closer to this, so.
Yeah. I'm right on death's door. Yeah. So what do I want to be remembered for? Probably family stuff. Husband, father type stuff. Being nice.
Yeah. So I do like playing a game where I pick a year, and then I decide okay, all right. I think about how old will I be that year? How old will my kids be? How many years will I have been married that year? What do I want life to look like? And I kind of reverse engineer, what do I need to do today to most recently I was in my journal, I was okay, in 10 years, I'll be 46. My kids, I'll have one in college, one driving, and then 2 middle schoolers. And it was what? Will
the one in college be driving or not?
I hope so. Unless one in college plus another one driving.
Yeah.
And so I think through that, what do I want to be known for? I don't necessarily do once I'm dead,
Sure.
But I do that exercise to motivate myself to be productive and to take care of my body and stuff like that.
Yeah.
However, it always just ends up back at family stuff.
Yeah.
It always just ends up back work and working out and all eating right and coming out with new music. Does it really matter? And I think thinking back to my grandpa, not necessarily the financial side of it, but I want the things people say about me after my death to be positive. I want.
Well, right after your death, everybody's going to say positive things.
I know,
That's what they say behind closed doors.
Yeah, I want 3 years later for some other kids to be my grandpa told me this story about your dad.
Yeah,
or whatever, But
you want to be known as what, mayor of Washougal?
No. Yeah, I think just faithfulness with family.
I was going to say that, but I figure you'd say that. That's your theme
and
today.
preaching the word, the gospel.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, that was kind of a serious one. Maybe this will be, what is the weirdest thing you have seen in someone else's home? I feel like you would have a story on this, Ty. The weirdest thing you have seen in someone else's home. I'm horrible at questions.
So back when I traveled playing music, there was a season where we were poor and couldn't afford hotel rooms. So we would stay with people that put on the show or from the venue, or there's a couple times even we were hey, if anyone has a floor we could sleep on tonight, that'd be great. And so we're not sleeping in the van as we were traveling from city to city. And I don't remember anything about the family that we stayed with, but they had a clown room. And it was it was a front living room.
I knew you'd have one.
There's a front living room where just clowns everywhere. And
so creepy.
And so two of us had
Is that where you slept?
No, two of us had to sleep in the room because it was just that's where two of the sleeping spots were. And all of us were nope. But Brian, who was our drummer, he was I'll do it. And he legit had to move a clown mannequin off the couch to lay down on it.
Dude, can you imagine waking up in the middle of the night, the moonlight coming through, and you look around and there's all these clowns.
Pictures of clowns on the walls, figurines, mannequins. It was the whole thing.
Sheesh.
Yeah, there's literally nothing else to say. That's all right. My last card. Do you have a favorite coffee mug? If so, what's on it, or what makes it your favorite? Every time we go to a trip, a vacation trip to another state, we always get mugs from those places. So I don't think I have one specific favorite, but it kind of goes season by season. So lately I've been drinking out of this Orlando, Florida coffee mug, and that's my favorite for today. Although my Congo de Clarence is always, I mixed some eggs up in that thing today. Because
nice.
where you mix up eggs to pour them in for scrambled eggs, I used my Congo de Clarence for that today. You feel disrespected by that?
I feel
that it wasn't coffee.
It's being used. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I have a mug that is just looks very 90s, and it just says Ben, and it was my dad's. Probably someone. It's like a gift shop where they have everyone's name on a mug, and it's just a cool memory because it was his, and it's my name too. So, but yeah, I like that one.
Oh, that's great.
This is the only mug I drink coffee out of.
Yeah,
I have two of them.
Is that just I feel like you've had that for years.
Yeah, 5 years. I have two of them. One of them kind of I lost it for a little bit, so I bought a new one, and then I found the other one. So the reason I do this though is before this mug, I was drinking so much coffee, and I didn't realize this, but when I got this mug, I realized I drink coffee way slower because it stays hot. So I can leave this in my car overnight, and in the morning it'll still be like warm, like not hot overnight, but like warm. And so, but what I realized subconsciously is that I drink coffee faster when it starts cooling off, and then I refill. And so like all of a sudden I just started drinking like 2 cups a day, maybe 3 on like long days when I got this. But before it was like, you know, as soon as it would get low, I'd refill it. As soon as it get low, I'd refill it. And so it's hard for me to like these cups, like I'll go to a coffee shop, and if I don't have this with me, it bothers me because it's like, oh, I have to drink this faster. And I cognitively know it now. $30 on Amazon. I'll put a link in the show notes.
That's pretty good. I have a blue one that's a little taller than that Yeti that I liked for that exact same reason. Hours it'll stay hot. But dude, I got that reminds me. I have to take back my other things I said, because there's this orange one that I think even might be the same brand, but from Tillamook, the Tillamook Cheese Factory.
Oh yeah,
that I most recently got, and it has the lid on it like that with the little thing. So that's my favorite right now.
All right, Ben.
Forget that whole Orlando thing. Yeah.
Ben, look at your card. See if there's one more that you want to go before we wrap up today.
Dude, I did all mine. Does that mean I win the card game? Is it a card game?
Yeah.
Okay. This one's kind of serious. Maybe we could do a whole pod on that one. But if humans came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Yeah. A warning label. Nice dead air here.
No, I'm trying to think of how to. I know what the context is, or the content. I'm just trying to figure out how to package it in a warning label. You know?
Yeah. Short fuse.
Yeah. It's. I'm not as sad as I look, or maybe I am, but it'll be okay.
You're not as serious as you look.
You
look serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not that serious. No. Or it could just be like, don't worry, I do like you. What would your warning label be, Ben?
Think about it. I have Andrew's.
Yeah.
You have mine? What's mine?
Ask me how passionate I actually am about this. Because like passion level, my first couple of years working with you, I like thought you were very passionate about everything, and I got to a point where I had to realize, oh, like he was just talking, like,
yeah, exactly,
you know. And so like I'd leave.
So the label is like, I actually don't care about this. This is just my personality.
Well, just ask me, because you might care a ton, or you might care not at all. And like because after a couple of years in, I was like, oh, I should do some digging before I do a bunch of work on something. You'd be like, this is the way it should be. This is the way it should be. And I go do something. You'd be like, oh, I don't think so. Like, never mind.
That's good. That's good insight.
Yeah. Ben's still in that phase.
Yeah.
3 years in,
I'm
where
still
he's
learning
like,
that.
He's like, this guy is really schizophrenic.
Well, mine. I don't know what mine would be. I think be careful. He's fragile. He's sensitive.
All right. Last question here. If you had to delete all but 3 apps from your smartphone, what would you keep?
Ooh. So are these apps that, it comes with like the little phone app, So how deep do we go there?
You choose.
You choose.
Yeah.
Mine would be text, Kindle app, because I read a lot of ebooks on there, and the Bible app. I mean, kind of basic.
Got to throw the Bible app in there. The podcast app, for sure.
Crap. Yeah.
No, yours is, you deleted it. You're gone, dude.
I'm not texting
anymore.
Just podcast.
Podcast, I'd say text, and then I'd say the Safari app or the Google app or whatever you use for your browser.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys seen the new Light phone. It's
my wife just sent me that the other day.
Yeah, I'm very much considering it now that they have a music part to it. They have you can do Spotify on it, which Spotify can do music and podcasts.
Is it out yet?
The Light phone?
Yeah.
So
like it's not.
They have the original version is out. They have a new one coming out that has maps and music, which are the two things. The reason I didn't get it the first time, but essentially it's just a phone that you phone, text, and now maps and music. And I think there might be one other thing on it, but that's it. And I've been considering it. Every time I get that weekly report with like, here's how much time you spent per week or per day on your phone, I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's still like way lower than like what studies say the average teenager does. Average teenager on their phone, 8 or 9 hours a day.
You're 36.
8 or 9 hours a day. 8 to 9.
All right. What are your 3 apps?
Spotify. Yeah, probably Maps. I gotta have Maps, and then I don't know.
Wait. The Northwest Gospel Church app.
There you go. Yeah, yes, that one. Okay, so these are fun. We'll have to do some of these again. Yeah. We'll do it again sometime. But while we were talking about our emails, I got a text from Brian that said his first email, and it was PowerPoint Master at netexecutive.com. So we have the PowerPoint Master with us today. So if you have questions for us, maybe they're more serious than these, maybe they're not, feel free to hit us up. Podcast@tobethechurch.com is the place you can do that. We hope you have a great week, everybody.